Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the African Event Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. Only on this channel, we'll bring you that information you need to keep your life safe and secured. Welcome to the programs today. My name still remains Patrick Abambu. In the studio, already I have my guest. Today we'll be diverting a bit from what we have been treating or discussing in the last few weeks or months, so to say. You know, we have been looking at the issues of the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic. But today, we're looking at another issue that some people already calling it a pandemic, but I know it's not a new issue. It's been something that has been with us years and years and years. But there's need for serious attention to it. That is talking about rape. In cases of rape is becoming reportedly alarming. So today we'll be looking at it. I already have in the studio a lawyer and a doctor, because we're going to look at it. This will be a part one of the series. We'll be looking at it because there is need to pay serious attention on these issues of rape. It's a serious case and we must treat it with all seriousness. Thanks for staying tuned again. Today, before we go to the discussion of the program, one of the things that we always do, like security, the physical security, is what the security forces are doing. The Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Police, the Nigerian Navy, and all the services are doing to ensure that our lives are protected, while we also look at other areas of security. So today we'll be looking at what the Nigerian Army is all doing. They are developing and improving their infrastructure in incidents of health. A new reference hospital is being constructed in Maiduguri, Borno State, to be able to take care of incidents there. So sit back as we bring you this report by Shirley Daniels on what the Army is doing.
The saying that true leaders care for their followers can be said to be true for the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai. As part of his vision in building a professionally responsive Nigerian army, Lieutenant General Buratai takes the welfare of his officers and soldiers as top priority. He has continued to show this in numerous ways. One of these is the recent foundation laying of a new Nigerian Army Reference Hospital in Maiduguri, which will add value and take care of both its personnel, their families, and the people of the Northeast. While laying the foundation of the new project, the Chief of Army Staff pointed out the need for the establishment of the hospital in the Northeast.
The Nigerian Army is committed to ensuring the welfare of its personnel and their families, including families of our deceased colleagues. We are gathered here today to give boost to our efforts at providing effective and efficient healthcare services to our personnel, as well as to the general public within the Northeast region. The counterinsurgency efforts of the Nigerian Army has sometimes resulted in casualties that require tertiary level medical care, which currently the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital in Kaduna provides. The evacuation of personnel to Kaduna has often resulted to the loss of valuable time, especially for emergency cases. This is in addition to the stress patients go through during movement to access this level of medical care. It is on this premise that the Nigerian Army has decided to construct the 200-bed capacity hospital to handle tertiary level health care for our troops as well as their families and our good people of the Northeast, especially Borno State.
The chief noted that the 200-bed capacity hospital, when completed, will be adequately staffed and equipped to meet international standards. General Buratai commended his officers and soldiers for their gallantry in various operations across the country and expressed gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari for his undying support.
The hospital, when completed, will be adequately staffed and equipped to meet international standards. The siting of the hospital, as earlier mentioned, is to ensure its accessibility to the civil populace without compromising security of the facility. The Nigerian Army, as always, is committed to providing quality health care for our troops. And it is my hope that relevant stakeholders will support this initiative to enable the speedy completion of the project. Let me at this juncture express our gratitude to the President and Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, for his continuous support to the Nigerian Army. I wish to also express my gratitude to our Chief Host, the Executive Governor, Borno State. We thank you most sincerely for all your support to the Nigerian Army at all times. Let me state here that apart from the continuous logistic support and the moral support you have given, this particular additional piece of land was approved by the Borno State government. Really appreciate this gesture.
He urged stakeholders to support the initiative for speedy realization of the project. In his remarks, the governor of Borno State, who was represented by his chief of staff, Alhaji Babagana Waki, said that the establishment of the hospital would boost the medical requirements and welfare of troops, their families, and members of the public. As said by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, this hybrid hospital, when completed, will relieve the pressure of evacuating seriously injured personnel from the northeast to as far as the Nigerian Army 44 Reference Hospital, Kaduna, for necessary medical care to help save lives. Julie Daniels, Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, that is what's been done to ensure that those who fight to protect my life and your life are also taken care of and their families taken care of. Yes, like I said at the beginning, today we're starting a series on this issue of rape. We can never stress it enough because it affects a lot of things. But it's not for me to say it. In the studio already with me, it's two gentlemen. One is already familiar to you. You will get to meet him. But let me introduce the new man that is joining us today. That is talking about Barrister Hezekiah Uchenna Ivoke. He's a general legal practitioner and the principal consultant with Hezekiah and Co.
King and Co.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, still in the studio with us again is Dr. Chukwuemeka Kanebi. Yeah, he's a clinician. Today I'll be describing him as a clinician because practically his passion is to work in the clinic, even though we have been looking at the issues of public health in the last few weeks and months. But we are not, we can't push it away anywhere because COVID-19 is still with us.
It's still with
like
us,
you have said previously. Look at the statistics that we have. We've had numbers are increasing, but we have to learn to live with it.
Yes,
obviously.
We need to.
All right. But let me come to the topic of today. Yeah, Barrister.
Yes.
What constitutes rape, or what does the law in Nigeria describe as rape?
Well, when you talk about rape, I'd like to approach this issue from two angles. Yes. What I call the analogous or the obsolete definition or meaning, and the contemporary definition or meaning of rape. The framework of legal provisions that a bit support the analogous definition is the Penal Code, the Criminal Code, and if you look at Section 6 of the Penal Code, Section 282 of the Penal Code, and maybe Section 30 of the Criminal Code, they all agree that rape means penetration of a female genital organs by that of a male without the consent of the female and without the female having the capacity to understand what is being done to the person. But now I say this is the analogous, and I'll tell you why. The reason is that you are saying that for there to be a rape, there must have been penetration. And so what it means is that when a man is impotent, for example, you are saying he is incapable of committing rape. But this is not actually true. There has been a case in America, the case of Bidley against Commonwealth, where the court said, well, this man is impotent, so he is incapable of committing rape. Meanwhile, he committed rape. But when we talk about the contemporary meaning, if you check the American Encyclopedia, or you check the VAP Act, that is Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, signed into law by President Goodluck Jonathan, May 25th, 2015. It gave what I enjoy to see as a definition of rape. It includes penetration of either the vagina or the mouth or the anus of a person, this time around not a woman,
okay.
a person, by any other part of the body of the other opponent. So this gives a broader and quite understandable and appreciable, realistic meaning of what rape is.
Okay.
So if you look at the Encyclopedia Americana, it says that word penetration should be seen beyond physical insertion. Okay. But to include everything that you have to consider about ravishing and extraction of sexual pleasure. So what this means is that a man could be raped, a boy could be raped.
Okay, good. I think we're getting it from the legal perspective.
Exactly.
Now, medically, because I know that even if a victim of rape reports, first of all, before any investigation, there must be clinical confirmation. Yes, there was. What is being looked for? What does a doctor or a medical personnel look for to confirm that this
I think, thank you, Patrick. I think what Barrister said just, puts everything into perspective. But what we look at first of all is that usually when there's some form of rape or sexual assault, you know that there could be some physical evidence on the client's body. This client may have put up a fight, and so there may have been some form of sexual violence besides just the what has been described. Okay. So this person could have been slapped, hit, punched with an instrument, with the physical parts of the human body, as well as other evidence that has to do with sex. So you could have dried semen on the person's body. You could have fingernails which have been dug into the person's skin. So these are all. There are just a lot of things that you can look for, hair being pulled and all of that. So it's a whole big, in fact, it's a huge branch of even forensic, analysis where you have to criminally look for evidence, forensically on this human being.
Okay, I will get back to you because there are issues that I want to take with you. Well, let me come to you, back to you, Barrister. So recently there have been reports on social media, maybe because of advent of social media, we're getting it here and there, and some say that can in Nigeria as we are today, can there be true conviction of rape with what we have?
Yes, very emphatically. There could be. There are, I must say. Federation of International Women Lawyers have been doing well in this. They've gotten a couple of convictions, not just on rape, associated and allied violence against or gender-based violence. Okay. There is one that is was recently gotten from the Federal High Court about harassment of women in the guise that they are prostitutes and all that. So there have been convictions on rape, but there are very critical issues we need to
because
discuss
that's why I asked this. Because a lot of people don't report this because they feel that you may not get justice, you may not get this thing. So from legal perspective, are there areas that the legal team can look for to be able to get conviction?
Now, there are several issues to this. Apart from the legal aspect, the security agents and the victim and the family and the society has a long role to play in this. If you look at what is happening, you will see that it's as if this thing is too rampant now. It's not just about it being rampant now. It has always been rampant. There are two things that happen. There has been a little orientation change. In the past, when you're raped or a family member is raped, a person is asked to keep it secret. So
because of stigmatization.
Stigma.
Okay.
Then secondly, there is the advent of the social media. People now cry out. So that is why the cases of rape are now being more reported than before, but it has always been like that. And I can assure you, it is not only in Nigeria that we are facing this challenge.
Exactly.
In India, every 20 minutes, somebody is raped.
Yeah.
In UK, in a year, over 147,000 cases of rape. Now, I can start from the victim and the family. And the society tried to discourage the family, tried to discourage the victim. The victim is traumatized in some cases. Then you come to our security agents, a lot of issues. Yeah. Sometimes there's a compromise. I can assure you some of our security agents do very smart and professional jobs in trying to get these things prosecuted. But a number of them either collect money from the perpetrator yeah. or ask the victim to bring money for investigation, yeah. and when the victim is unable to afford it, then they even sometimes intimidate the victim into accepting that there was a consent. And then you find other trends of rape cases being filed by security agents and not followed up and not diligently prosecuted. Okay. A judge in FCT had to warn sometime in 2012, 2013 about the lackadaisical attitude of security agents when it comes to prosecution of issue of rape.
Maybe because witnesses are not forthcoming. I will come to that, but let me take you now on this issue, because, for instance, some of the cases we got recently, things that have happened in the past. Yes. The case of 2018, 2007, 2016. Yeah. Now, from the clinical perspective, can there still be any evidence that can be gotten from such?
That would really just be a very difficult case to bargain. So we usually encourage people that immediately a rape or an assault has happened, yeah. quickly report. In fact, your first point of report should be at the hospital, so we can at least salvage as much evidence as we can. Okay. Photography also helps, because we're able to capture some of these attendant wounds and assault on the victim, so that we're able to use this as evidence. So it's very essential that reporting as early as possible.
So timing is very important.
Really of the essence. As soon as you can get to a health facility, I think it's essential that you're there, so that these evidence as much as possible can be collected, so that if you choose to prosecute, you actually have this evidence. Because it's like you're just mentioning, the law sometimes the evidence it needs is so daunting that you just can't.
Okay. Yeah, if you're joining us, welcome to your program. Sorry, we're already halfway gone. If not, go driving home already. We're looking at the incidents of rape in Nigeria, what constitutes rape, and the lawyer here had actually defined it for us. The doctor has also told us what can be salvaged to be able to get a case incidented. Yeah, back to you, barrister. Yeah, he said it. Evidence, it's a big issue now in Korea, because forensic evidence, a lot of things has to be taken. Are lawyers and maybe I should use this word, the criminal justice system in Nigeria, are they in support of prosecution of cases of rape in Nigeria, or they're just nonchalant about it?
I can assure you that previously, before 2015, the legal framework we have in Nigeria about rape is one that makes it almost impossible for you to establish a case of rape. Because even there are cases that says, except you produce evidence of penetration, then you cannot convict a person for penetration, for rape. But you also find cases where in the past it is believed, because of what the penal code and the criminal code says, that it is only a man that could rape a woman. A woman cannot rape a man. So in 2012, you have a case of 6 women, although a wife of a man, raping the man to death, and the court found a conviction for manslaughter and not rape. But it cannot happen in the legal jurisprudence that we operate now. Yeah. Under the VAP Act, the volume and the strictness of evidence required has been limited to what is realistically possible. So now, a man can rape a woman can rape a man. Okay. 2, you now find that the sentence are stricter in the VAP Act. And apart from the sentence, the VAP Act tried to also create some innovations that tend to discourage rape. For example, if you look at section 37, 38, particularly section 38 of the VAP Act, it says that the state should set up a register of convicted rapists. So if that happens, and that your name is going to be published. And in fact, section 38 provide that if a person is convicted twice for rape, the court should declare this person as a dangerous rapist. Yes. So if you know that this kind of dent is going to be attached to your name, besides the fact that you are going to be to be bagging life imprisonment.
Okay, because that's what I'm going to call. What is the punishment? What is the sentence now that can be given, the minimum and the highest?
You know, apart from rape, there are other associated cases.
Okay.
And so the sentences are graduated. For example, if you talk about the issue of incest and there is consent, the sentence is 5 years. But if there is incest without consent, it is 10 years. And then you look at the
incest, for the benefit of the layman, is between relatives.
Yes, of course.
All right. Okay. So
yes, of course. You find that most cases of rape and sexual assaults are between people who knew the victim.
Yes. Yes.
So you also find a very interesting provision in Section 39 that provides that the VAP Act supersedes the penal code and the criminal code. It therefore behoves on security agents and prosecutors to present their cases to fight based on the VAP Act rather than the criminal code and the penal code. It also behoves on the court because the judiciary, the court, has the powers to convict a person based on the VAP Act, even though the prosecutor has not presented the act or have not filed the charge based on the act. So the judge can choose to give a sentence based on what the VAP Act has provided.
Now, for instance, if a perpetrator is arrested and the case is still being investigated, can bail be granted from the court?
Of course. In circumstances that varies, bail is not granted per se or absolutely. It's not an absolute right in such a situation because rape case is a capital offense. It's an offense that the law said before you grant bail, you have to screen it very well. Look at the circumstances. Is the victim, is the suspect, is the perpetrator maybe suffering health challenges that needed to be attended to, that cannot be attended to by the security facility, by the facility, of the security agency, keeping him in custody, or are there other extenuating circumstances that has to be considered in granting bail? But it's not just what you grant bail per se, because most times perpetrators of rape are violent in kind.
Exactly.
Great. So we are getting signal to leave, so we're going to continue with you by the next episode of this book. But let me come to you. Now, you're also, as a clinician, you also counsel these victims.
Exactly.
What are the basic counseling should one get as a victim of this?
I think the first thing is not to blame the victim. I think that's the first thing,
because that's a lot to put
that's
maybe the way the victim dressed, the way he appeared,
so,
and all that.
I know we'll talk about this more next week, but I think that's the biggest killer of any victim, and that is actually what's responsible for a lot of underreporting of cases, because the victim says, if I come out, I'll be blamed. If I come out, it's my fault. Something must be tied to me. And so I think just for everybody out there, the first thing is never, no matter what the circumstances, even if it's a child or somebody, in fact, even a woman who walks on the street, who dressed inappropriately according to you, can be raped and has every right to prosecute this, has every right to get justice. It doesn't matter what the circumstances around this was. And I just had to put this out there.
All right. So next week we'll continue with you. But on the final word before we leave, most perpetrators of these people who commit this rape, is it premeditated? Is it something that they planned or just sudden from what you have maybe encountered?
The reasons vary.
Okay.
A lot of times, sometimes some people have medical problems.
Yeah.
Some people have do these things for ritual purposes.
Exactly.
Some other people are on drugs.
Yes.
Some other people are just provoked.
Yes.
Which is part of the thing that the VAP Act condemns.
Exactly.
When you dress provocatively or behave in such a way that you want to extract or lure someone to begin to have the to lust after you, it's as an offense.
That is also bringing this issue of
telling
blame.
you, punishment, war crimes, all of that. People just try to do that to revenge.
Okay, all right,
a lot of things.
Next week we're going to look at it because you just pointed out this provocative dressing can also cause rape. We'll have to look at this.
I won't accept that.
So we must leave on these notes because there's an issue we must look at next week of this program. I will continue with you if you have your chance to be with us next week, but we must leave for other programs to continue. Thanks for being with us. I must thank you also for continuing. Next week let's do it again and do it better and look at these issues that can lead to rape. Until we come here again next week, I said thanks for staying tuned. We'll sign up for the COVID-19 watch to continue with you. Thanks and bye for now.